end, Liu Yizhan stood on the fourth alchemy stage. The top three are apprentices of the Poisonous Hand Medicine King, Tao Danyang, and the Poisonous Hand Medicine King, Yan Fu. For these three people, he was convinced by mouth and was not dissatisfied. As for the people behind him, he was too lazy to see. At this point, all the alchemists who thought they could enter the top 20 of this Danish meeting had all stood up. And their strength is obvious to all. They are all well-known alchemists. And no one present has any objections. Next, Xiaoya glanced at everyone and said with a smile, "Then everyone, please stand on the alchemy platform according to the strength of the family. The first-class family is in front, the second-rate family is in the middle, and the third-rate family, please find a location in the back end." They do this to allow the audience present to observe the skills of the alchemist more closely. After all, the alchemist of the first-rate family is definitely stronger than the second-rate. And the second-rate must be more than the third-rate. With targeted observations, it is also convenient for the major families upstairs to dig the walls. Otherwise, if your third-rate family digs into the corner of the second-rate family and you get an oolong, it will be a shame. Huayula was thoughtful. And even the thoughts of the major families who came to watch were taken into consideration, which attracted everyone's admiration. Those alchemists had nothing to say. They found their corresponding positions and stood up. In no time, thousands of alchemy platforms were already full of people. In front of them, there is a good bronze furnace tripod on one side. And beside them are beautiful disciples of Huayula. Everything is ready. Xiaoya looks around the people, smiles slightly, and officially begins to explain the competition rules of the Baden event. This Baden event is divided into 3 rounds of competition. Each round will eliminate the corresponding number of alchemists, and each in the first round. The alchemist who won the top 20 will be able to occupy the alchemy platform in front of me. Until the end, the champion will be decided. In other words, only the top 20 alchemy masters are eligible to enter the Eyes of Huayu Tower. For a time, people understood this in their hearts, and they couldn't help but gradually dignified. Although they already knew the tragic situation of this competition, they never expected that it would be so tragic. Of the thousands, only 20 can participate in the final championship. The 20 people in front of them are all master figures in the alchemy of the Xianyu Empire. They stand there, but they can't move, but who can shake their status? Not to mention the 3 rounds of competition, that is, the 300 rounds, and those of them absolutely can't step into the top 20. In an instant, everyone's face was covered with sorrow. Only the top 20 competitors will show a smug smile. Looking at everything in his eyes, Xiaoya flashed a contempt in his eyes, and continued. This event attracted many well-known alchemists in the Xianyu Empire. We Huayu Tower also prepared the treasures most desired by alchemists as the champion prize for this event. Saying that, Xiaoya clapped her hands gently, and 2 disciples respectfully held a jade plate covered with red cloth and put it on the display. Xiaoya waved her hand and uncovered the red cloth. In an instant, a green tree-like thing appeared in front of everyone. And under the watchful eye of everyone, the root of the tree rose and fell like a beating heart. The treasure of Huayulao Town House. Bodhi fibrous root. They could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. They could not have imagined that Huayulao had played so much this time that even the treasure of Zhenlao was taken out as a prize. Only a few people knew the truth. But when the Bodhisattva Sugenfu appeared, he couldn't help but shrink his eyes. Senior old, you must get this thing. On the VIP seat on the west side, Wang Pu Qingyan's fists tightened. And his eyes showed naked desire. On the first alchemy stage on the field, the Poison Hand Potion King couldn't help but lick his lips and looked at the Bodhi fibrous root, and his heart was excited. He already saw that the thing was real. As long as he wins, the Bodhi fibrous root will definitely be available. Ha, old thief, There is an old person, you have no reason to succeed. Tao Dan Nyang glanced at him, sneered coldly. With a grin, Poison Hand Potion King gave her a scornful look. It's up to you, is it worthy at this time? Lu Yizhan suddenly realized. Why such a Baden event held in a Flower Rain Tower will attract the two Taishan Bedas of the two Xianyu Empire alchemy worlds to participate. It turned out that they were all coming to this heaven and earth. For a time, Lu Yizhan wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and his heart sighed. Not to mention that he can't win these two. Even if he can really win, can he dare to win this championship prize? Wouldn't he look for death if he wanted something that was spotted by two tigers? His grandma's, this old Dan's meeting. The old man should not come to participate. Lu Yizhan's regretful intestines are now green, but there is no way. Now that he has been on stage, wouldn't he lose his face if he didn't show his hands? Fortunately, he wasn't as good as these two. It was no big deal to lose the game. Thinking of this, Lu Yizhan took a breath, and was so happy that he couldn't win. If this let others know, wouldn't the eyeball fall to the ground? Master Lu, what you just said about the nature of the mind, what you just said about the alchemy's self-confidence, how can you compare it? You already admit it. What everyone thinks, only you know clearly, others are unknown, but many people have already kicked back. In such a fierce competition, they are hopeless and daring. Taking all people's expressions into his eyes, Xiaoya ignored them, but kept her head up and continued. First of all, the title of the first round of Dan Dan is to refine Yipin Dan, Yipindan. As soon as this remark came out, many people who had just flinched had regained their confidence. Yipindan is simple, who can't refine it? If you can't even get a pinyin, then come to the Baden event. But then, I heard Xiaoya continue, although Yipindan is simple, it has different tactics and naturally different efficiencies. So this first round of competition is better than tactics. The alchemist must cultivate into Yipindan in the shortest time, the fastest 100 finalists, the rest are eliminated. What? At this moment, the hope that had just risen was broken in an instant. For a competition of thousands of people, only 100 will be selected in the first round, and thousands will be eliminated. How terrible is this? How can you play so well in the first round? I have a bell here, and there are also bells in the hands of the disciples in Huayulao around you. It starts with the sound of the bell and ends with the sound of the bell. As long as you make the medicine, the female disciple beside you will ring the bell. So now, get started. Double quote.